Hi guys, welcome home to... Oh my god. That was disgusting. Are you drunk, idiot? Ah, crap! God, this sucks, man. But anyway, so now that we have finished that one, which was... yeah, you're darn right. Kinda can't prevent that one. Okay, let's see if we can... Oh, here we are. Link to the second part. Let's jump in.
Welcome back, gamers, to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers. If you happen to be new to the channel, we put out daily content on everything video game related. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another video. Plus, comment down below with what you love most about Cuphead. Now let's jump into today's solo story of the scariest Cuphead creepypastas titled Mugman.exe.
Okay, I'm ready for this. Let's go.
The following creepypasta is based on the part 2 of the Cuphead.exe story and was written by YouTuber YaManTV. Our story begins with our protagonist purchasing a laptop from a local pawn shop. He loved Cuphead and downloaded what is believed to be one of the most twisted versions of the game. He describes how he joined Cuphead and going on a rampage through the game's map, playing for hours on end. The protagonist decided to log off once he reached the bridge back to where the Elder Kettle's house was. Cuphead stopped to say that he wanted to check on Mugman. After logging out of the game, he suddenly noticed that there was a new icon on his desktop. He could have sworn that the laptop was blank when he opened it, but perhaps in his rush to download the Cuphead file, he just missed it. The gamer leaned closer to the screen to clarify what exactly he was seeing. The file was named Mugman.exe. I guess the Cuphead game downloaded that as well, he muttered to himself. At this point, he was so exhausted from playing Cuphead that he just decided to go to sleep and to check the file another day. He woke up the next day around 11 a.m. or so, and as he walked into his living room, he found the old laptop on his desk was open. Not just open, but the screen was bent back further than the laptop normally would allow. He could have sworn that he had shut it off before drifting to sleep, but then again, maybe he just didn't remember leaving it up. The gamer booted the laptop back up, straightened the screen back to 90 degrees, and logged in. There it was, the Cuphead.exe file, and right underneath was the Mugman.exe file. The icon of the file was a simple image of Mugman's head, except his eyes appeared to be a black void. Still hesitant to click on the mysterious file, he opened up the Cuphead game. His camera view was hovering over the bridge area right where he had left off. And there he was. Cuphead was still standing in the same spot, slowly shaking back and forth with his maniacal toothy grin. The protagonist noticed that he had no control over the character. He furiously clicked his mouse and mashed his keyboard, but still nothing. A window popped up saying that if the gamer wanted to continue playing Cuphead, that he would first have to download and install the Mugman file. Following that message, the game just shut itself down. A terrible grinding sound began emitting from the speakers. It sounded similar to when a disc is jammed in a computer. The sound was deafening and caused the laptop to heat up as the screen turned to black. He took a deep breath, rolled his shoulders, and patiently waited for this awful noise to cease. For a moment, he thought to himself, well, I guess that's it for this laptop. As he got up from his desk, he swore that he heard a voice say, "Where are you going, buddy?" The gamer slowly turned back to the laptop to see that it was back at the desktop screen. Now it felt like some force was controlling him as he walked back to the laptop and double-clicked on the Mugman file. A similar menu for Cuphead appeared on his screen, but the menu looked different. Instead of the usual start game, it oddly said continue. Without hesitation, he did just that. He clicked continue, proceeding with the game. The map looked normal except for this odd red undertone. Cuphead was now standing in front of the Elder Kettle's house, but he wasn't holding the axe from before. He could now control Cuphead because I guess he clicked on the Mugman file. He attempted to move him back into the main area of the map, but the game wouldn't allow it. Therefore, he only had one option: to go inside of the recently deceased Elder Kettle's house. A chill went down his spine as he walked towards the home. Its atmosphere felt more eerie than ever before. Suddenly, he heard the mysterious voice speak again. Let's go see what Mugman's up to. The door to the home was open, and as he searched around, it was nothing but pure darkness. As Cuphead walked into the home, the music turned to silence. Goosebumps began forming on his arm and neck as the voice spoke again.
Hate scary games where there's no music. That just raises the
The
atmosphere.
an old show tune song began playing. As light filled the once dark and creepy room, he could now see everything in the home. For one, he discovered the music was coming from an old record player. What he saw next, though, made him wish that he had just left the home the way it was. The gamer's jaw dropped as he turned to see blood splattered across the walls. The animated blood completely overwhelmed his senses. There were puddles on the floor, droplets falling off the edges of tables, and even drops of blood were coming from
Ooh, that's too much. That's too much. Way too much of that crap.
The gamer now realizing that the voice was coming from the Cuphead character all along, controlling him, taunting him, leading him into this gruesome environment for which he was now standing in the middle of. He spoke again. I thought the room could use a fresh new color. The protagonist was now completely speechless. He didn't know what to do. Was he supposed to speak to the character? How silly would that be? I mean, it was just a game after all. However, it appeared as though the Cuphead character was attempting to communicate with him, as if he knew he was there. Cuphead then began to move on his own. He walked over to the table and pointed at a covered dish in the center of the table as he said, "Oh boy, I sure am starving." Assuming the worst, but now struck with curiosity, the gamer pressed the action button, allowing Cuphead to remove the cover from the top of the dish. It was Mugman's head. Cuphead, now with a devilish grin on his face, spoke, "I know what you're thinking. How could I have done such a thing? We need to put him back together. Tape and glue, it'll do, so Mugman can join us too." What was the point of all
how about using some clay along with those?
His computer frozen in fear for what may happen next.
You know, to cover up some of those cracks,
with a
if there were
deadpan look on his
any.
face as he explained that he had dismembered Mugman and placed him throughout the room. He now did the unthinkable and searched the home for all of the Mugman parts. He collected them all and placed them in a pile next to Mugman's severed head. Cuphead let out a maniacal laugh as the disc jamming sound played yet again. With the screen then flashing to black and then back to the game, it continued to do this back and forth as he watched graphic animated scenes of Cuphead sewing and taping Mugman back together. The screen flashed to black for a moment. and then back
That's
to the
such an
game
old
with a now
meme.
pieced together Mugman lying on the table.
God,
Cuphead
that's such an
spoke,
old
"You have
meme.
to be the one to complete him, silly." The gamer muttered under his breath, "What am I supposed to do?" At this moment, he realized that the game could hear him because in response, Cuphead said, "You gotta fill his mug back up. Use the vials of blood we collected. Pour them in, and that should do it." That's when he remembered the massacre that he had gone on with Cuphead in the other file the night before. With each massacre, the two of them collected vials of their victims' blood. His once nervous chills throughout his body turned into a fear-inducing sweat streaming down his hairline to his chin. The gamer did just as he was told, though, and began pouring the blood into Mugman's head. The cracks in the character were so bad that it was leaking all over the place. Cuphead then encouraged the gamer to place both hands on the keyboard, holding all of the controls at once, in order to complete this daunting task. Without thinking twice, he placed both of his hands on the keyboard and pressed down. He could feel a strange tingling in his fingers. They were stuck. He fiercely tried to remove them from the keyboard, but they wouldn't budge. He watched in horror as Cuphead used long strings to lift the Mugman character almost like a marionette doll. The tingling in his fingers turned to shooting pain, like a needle being jammed into every finger at once. Blood flowed from the tips of his fingers and went in between the keys. As he quickly lost more and more blood, the protagonist blacks out. When he regains consciousness, his fingers were still stuck to the keyboard, and on the desktop was another new icon. It was labeled chalice.exe.
No.
Thank you so much for
Do
watching.
not click on
If you enjoyed
those.
this video, show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button.
Alright, note to
Comment down
self.
below with your
Never
thoughts on
try
this story.
that
And
in
for more
real
videos like
life.
this one, all you have to do is click that playlist on your
Otherwise,
screen.
something
For
like
Top 10
that
Gaming,
might
I'm Johnny
happen.
Rogers. Until next time, take care.
Oh my god, no. I definitely like you like that. Agreed. Why not? It's like, why not add in some clay along with that, you know, and then wait overnight for that to dry, over the cracks to cover them up. This way, when you pour in whatever liquid you're pouring into his head, to make him come to life, then you won't have a problem. But nope.
Hi there, scary creepypasta story lovers. I know, I'm not Johnny, who you have so lovingly dubbed the creepypasta guy. Where is he? Well, that last Cuphead creepypasta was pretty intense, so he had to take a breather, or I don't know. He said he was going home to play some games, so maybe they got him. So in his place, just for today, I'm Sasha. I'm here to continue the tale of creepypasta terror that started out with creepypasta.exe, and it continued on with Scary Mugman. So if you missed those, well, the link will be down below, or you can click the card. Now it's time to move on to Ms. Chalice. She's a newer character who was announced for the Cuphead DLC, Cuphead the Delicious Last Course. And once that's released, you'll be able to play her in the full version of the game as well. That is, if you can stomach her after this story, of course. It's time. Cuphead.exe Part 3, MissChalice.exe. Our protagonist still found himself stuck to his laptop, forced to play the mysterious version of Cuphead he had found there, watching a demonic Cuphead control a desolate Mugman. Forced out of the game and back to the desktop, the player found a new file, Chalice.exe. With fingers paining and stuck to the keyboard, the player had no choice but to click. Fingers moving like those on a puppet, he was hearing an eerie voice of Cuphead telling him they weren't done yet. When he booted up the game, he saw the opening screen with Cuphead and Mugman. Mugman was tugging the player's strings, forcing him to press action. The broken doll Mugman jerked on the screen with no purpose. Desperate to free himself, the player decided that the only way to escape was to play. As he played, he saw that the game around him was deteriorating, glitching, nothing but patches and pixels. The player followed the deranged Cuphead and dangling Mugman past the corpses of their slain foes, watching as Cuphead mocked and played with the corpses. The player was repulsed by Cuphead, but still couldn't free his fingers. Together, they traveled to the item shop, Cuphead promising Mugman a special item that made the latter grin maniacally underneath the tape covering his mouth. Ill intent gleamed in both their eyes. Cuphead burst through the shop door. The gift for Mugman was the shop owner. As the owner tried to flee, Mugman's body contorted until his stomach exploded with even more wires. Coarse, harsh strings, a demented puppet. His strings sliced the pieces. Cuphead then could collect them and feed them into the gaping hole. The player watched it all, frozen in disgust. On the screen,
Well, I mean, I thought that was pretty some pretty good baking, because if you look at the shopkeep in Cuphead, you will see that he is a thick boy and would make some good eating and lots of bacon. Yummy bacon. No, it just made myself hungry in a video where I should be scared, and I am scared. But at the same time, though, I'm hungry and I already ate. What the heck?
Helplessly, the player followed Cuphead and Mugman to the island. A dull, lifeless map bereft of all color and life from the previous map. That was, except for a golden glow coming from a raised tomb. Even the player was curious about it, and they all moved towards it. And as they moved forward, it opened for them, luring them inside with the quiet sound of harps. Slowly, they made their way to the center where they found the traditional vase. Cuphead used his axe, still wet with blood, to shatter it. Out of the vase slid a figure, covered in black ooze. And as the figure lay there, ghosts filled the room, swirling angrily, attempting to destroy Cuphead and Mugman. Or were they? Slowly, the ghosts began to fill the body on the ground, which swelled up with each new ghost, until the figure rose, screaming. Cuphead tried to kill the creature, but to no avail. The player felt compelled to play as Cuphead to defeat this new grotesque apparition, but nothing helped. And the player watched as Mugman exploded in rage, wires and pig meat shooting from his body in a gush, slicing the monster to pieces, as Cuphead ran forward, chopping the chunks into even finer bits. The ooze slowly rolled back together, gathering shards of glass as it grew, creating a body. A body that Cuphead dubbed Ms. Chalice. Her body was nearly perfect, minus the cracks in her chalice and pulsing veins on her arms. Gleefully, Cuphead told the player she would be joining them. Helplessly, the player was forced to keep playing, now with 3 evil masters. The mind of Yaman has done it again, so give him some love and encourage him to keep these coming. The world needs more scary Cuphead. We need to hear more about Miss Chalice's adventures. I hope you didn't miss Johnny too much. He will be back. He's just off living his best life. But I know you all want to know what happened next. So I want to know, what's your scariest real gaming experience? Like actually playing a game and then freaking out because something really odd happened.